Right, here I am at church in Onehunga, a very old church. This church is Our Lady of the Assumption. It's been a Roman Catholic church on this site since about 1860. But the actual church that you see behind me was built in 1887. One of the things that you can really do on these old churches, go around the gravestones. And I'm going to show you what I do when I go around these things and how you can make them a lot more interesting. But the wonderful thing about this church is there's a guy called John Brown, and he's one of the parishioners, and he's a gardener, and he comes in all during the week and just makes the gardens around this church absolutely marvellous. So let's go and have a look. It's a beautiful day. Now just look at these. Just look at that. Look at those flowers. Aren't they absolutely wonderful? Come on, let's go and have a look at these things. But do they smell? Not very strong, those ones. I love roses that smell. Oh, that is superb. Anyway, coming to sniff the roses is not really the prime goal here. No. So sniffing the roses is not my prime goal. The prime goal is to look at grave sites and find one with an unusual name and then go and explore that name on Papers Past, sorry. So let's just turn that around and let's go and have a look at some gravestones here. So over there we have Margaret Mary Hartnett. That's quite a common name, so we won't give that one a go. Shadrach, that could be worthy of having a look. Let's just come around here. See what we have here. Okay, we have Stellard. I haven't heard of a Stellard before, so that's good. So here we have in loving memory of Edward Stellard, dearly beloved husband of Ellen Stellard, who died 29th of July 1894, aged 81. And over here his wife, Ellen, beloved wife of Edward Stellard. She died in 1910. So the thing that you have to do with these is try and remember the correct spelling of their name and the date they died. So we'll go with Edward. So he died on the 29th of July 1894. 28th of July 1894, aged 81. That's a good old age for those days, isn't it? So what we're going to do now is we're going to find out if we can find some information on dear old Edward. But it's a bit breezy here, so I'm going to go back to the car and I'm going to use my iPhone or my iPad mini to look up and see if I can delve into the history of these two characters here. So let's just go back to the car and we'll get ourselves sorted out. But just before I do, there's some roses to be sniffed. Oh. Oh. Okay, so first thing you have to do when you have your iPad or your iPhone is to go to a website called Papers Past. So just go to Google, put in Papers Past, and bingo, up will come the Papers Past website. Then you go to newspapers. Once you go to newspapers, you then come up with a screen that is a search screen, so you can put in various bits and pieces. So I want to go with Edward Stellard. Stallard, S-T-A-L-L-A-R-D, and I know that he was he died in 1895. So I'm going to put, by the way, Edward Stallard. I'll put this as the exact search, so I'll put the exact phrase. I know he died in 1894, so I'll search between the dates 1855 and 1895. Gives me a bit of a buffer there. All regions. No, I really just want to go with Auckland, so I'll look up just Auckland. Bingo. And then all content. Yes, you can have ads or you can have stories or whatever, so I'll go with all content and just go search. So paperspass.nationallibrary.govt.nz is now searching, and we come up with now the results are presented to me in the form of best match. So what I want to do is actually look at it via date. I want it to sort out and look at it in date format. Okay, and I'll show you some screenshots. Unfortunately, my screen capture software for this iPad is not working. But this is the sort of thing you're going to be looking at, okay? So I'm going to go and have a look at, here's the first mention of them is 1857. So let's go into here. It's an advertisement, page 2, column 5. And as you scroll down on these things, the things that you're searching for are in green. So you can see a green there. Well, you might not be able to see there. There it is, green, Edward Stallard. Okay, what does it say? Notice, I hereby caution the public not to give my wife Helen Stallard any trust or credit, as I will not be responsible for any debt she may contract from this date. Edward Stallard. Only Hunger, November the 5th, 1857. Oh dear, not so good. Okay, let's go back. That's interesting. So there's something's happening here. I'm not sure if let's go down here. Let's go 1859. What's happening in 1859? Edward Stallard is mentioned as he is Edward Stallard, Prince Albert, and he is the publican, and he has an alcohol license. So the Prince Albert Inn in Onehunga. So he obviously has something to do with that. That's interesting. Let's go for 1860. What's happening in 1860? Edward Stallard, come on mate, you got to be here somewhere. Edward Stallard, those premises known as Prince Albert Inn, Queen Street, a good stable and other outbuildings with 1 acre of land attached. So he's looking to sell it via a man called John Bates. But if John's not around, then come into the pub and see Edward Stallard. Okay, so he is the actual owner of the Prince Albert in 1868. Okay, he hasn't been mentioned from 1860 through to 1868. And here we have, again, it's asking for a temporary license. Mr. Beveridge made application on behalf of Edward Stallard for permission to exercise temporarily a publican's license in the Prince Albert Inn. So whether he temporarily lost his license or what, I'm not 100% sure. Okay, 1868, Onehunga's Magistrates Court, Wednesday before 1869. That's happening 1869. Here we go, Edward Stallard, breach of Dog Nuisance Act. Edward Stallard was charged with having a large and dangerous dog unmuzzled. Constable Negus deposed. I was called upon by Dr. Pearce, who stated that his horse had been bitten and injured by a dog, the property of the defendant. Dr. Pearce deposed. I was riding up Queen Street, Onehunga on Thursday afternoon when a large black and white dog rushed from the front of the defendant's premises, the Prince Albert Hotel. It caught my pony by the hock. Next morning I found the pony's leg swollen and injured by the bite and have been unable to use it for some days. I'm not suing for damages. but on public grounds wished to have such dangerous nuisances stopped. For the defence, Adam Nixon deposed that he saw Dr. Pierce riding past. A white dog ran after his horse but did nothing as it could not come up to the horse. I saw defendant's black and white dog lying quietly. It did not move. Two witnesses deposed that they had known the dog for a long time to be quite harmless, never taking any notice of passing horses. The court said there was no reason to doubt the evidence of Dr. Pierce. The fact of the dog not having been known to be mischievous previously was no reason why it should not have been so on this occasion. The temper of some dogs being very uncertain, a nominal fine of 1 shilling and costs would be imposed. The defendant must take better care of his dog or he would be killed. Well, killed. Okay, not put down, killed, you know. Okay, interesting that, eh? A doctor or a publican, whose word are you going to take? Some things never change. Okay, very interesting. The inhabitants of Onehunga, 1874. What's happening now? Trespass. Same point. Okay, it looks like he has leased his premises to somebody, and what was used as a public access way next to the Prince Albert Inn is no longer, and someone's complaining. Okay, let's go to the last page of stuff here. 1882. Let's see what advertisement we have here. We'll look at from the Auckland Star. 1882. He died in 1894, didn't he? And here, where is Edward Stellard? There you go. Edward Stellard, licensing noticing. My intention to apply. Okay, so he's going for another license for the Prince Albert Inn. Okay, husband and wife. Oh, that sounds interesting. 1893. I think he died in 1894, didn't he? Okay. Okay, 1893. Husband and wife, a disputed savings bank account. This morning at the RM court, the application was made by an old man named Edward Stellard of Onehunga under Section 21 of the Married Women's Property Act for an order declaring that certain monies amounting to £110 standing in the name of his wife Ellen Stellard in the books of the Auckland Savings Bank were his property. The parties are legally separated. Okay, so they've separated. Mr. appeared for one, appeared for the other. They haggled about it. Mr. Watson of the Ethical Bank Club, Mr. Stellard's evidence for the defendant. Questions where his property and stood in the name. Okay, so there's dispute over who actually owns it. So the judge, after counsel had addressed the court, Dr. Giles gave judgment that the monies in question were common property and ordered an equal division of the money, each party to pay own costs. I love it. Okay, that's pretty much it. The last one is the Supreme Court, 1894, 21st of August. He died in July, didn't he? And here it's basically probate was granted in the following cases. Edward Stellard. So that brings to end the life of Edward Stellard. It sounds quite an interesting little life there. Did I do that one? Law and Police? I don't think I did that one. That looks quite interesting. Law and Police in 1893. Where's Mr. Stellard here? Okay, here we go. Onehunga RM Court. Assault. Edward Stellard was charged with striking his... This is on January the 31st, 1883. Okay, he died in 1894, so he's like about 70 about now. Okay, so here we go. Assault. Edward Stellard was charged with striking his wife and threatening her life. Mr. Stellard deposed to the facts. He was in the public house opposite. This and many former assaults... Oh, he was in the public house opposite. Okay. This and many former assaults, broken ribs, etc., occurred through his drinking. A witness also proved the assault and that the complainant gave no provocation. Defendant was bound over to keep the peace for 3 months. Oh dear. A publican who gets drunk and beats his wife. Not good. Not good. Well, there you go. See, now that was a bit more interesting than than I was expecting. Now, one of the other things you can do too, which I love to do, is after you've exhausted papers past, you can go to another website, which is called Heritage Images. So just type in Heritage Images, which I'll obviously have to do here. Heritage Images. Here they are. And this is a website that has photos from days gone by, and it's run by the Auckland City. So you go in there and you get a thing like this. So you can just basically put in here whatever you want to search for and see if there's any photos that that exist for that. So I'm going to go with Edward Stallard. Edward Stallard, and do a search for him, and there's nothing. Okay, so okay, let's go back, and I'm going to put in the let's get rid of that, and we'll put in the Prince Albert Inn. Prince Albert, dear old Albert from Victoria's Queen Victoria's husband, of course. Prince Albert Inn, or hotel. I'll go with hotel. Hotel. Go. Okay, and we come up with a number of results, but these all look to be in the city, except this one here. This one here looks to be here. So what I'll do, I'll put some picture shots when I get home with my computer and show you what I'm looking at in greater detail. But here's a wonderful photo of the Prince Albert Inn. And you can see there, if we expand it, oh yes, it's quite a small and pokey little place, halfway up Queen Street, or the mall. If you know where the old Dick Smith was, that's just a little bit further up from where Arthur Street comes into the mall. But that's his place there, and it looks to be next to it, there looks to be a whole bunch of land. I guess if you're running a hotel, you needed some space for horses, for the people's horses to be. And that's where Dr. Pierce's horse, the dog ran out and bit the horse. I have a feeling that his house, etc., might have been opposite the road there. Because in that case of him beating up his wife, it sounds like it said the house, the hotel opposite. I wonder if that means. Anyway, where appropriate, what I'll organise to do back home is splice into here some of the stuff that I read, and certainly put that wonderful photo. Look at that wonderful photo there. Prince Albert Inn. Look, there's outside there's a horse and dray. Obviously some guy on home from work. I think I'll just stop for a beer and go in and have a beer with dear old Edward, probably called Ted. Anyway, that's what I do. That's what I do when I go to these things. So that's another episode, episode 5. How to make graveyards more interesting. As long as you've got some data and an iPhone. So this is the Kiwi Codger, again, signing out. Take it easy.